Jimmy Carrane's an improv nerd.
It was really fun. I mean, it was really interesting. I think that the talent level of the people at UCB, on average, was way higher than what I saw in Chicago. Now,
why is that, do you think?
Because I don't think New York is always the place you go to first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people get good and then they go to New York. So people had a bigger background as performers. Some of the people I was working with, I don't know if you've ever met Michael Delaney. So there was Michael Delaney and Billy Merritt and Andy Secunda and Andy Daly and Sean Conroy. These are guys who were on this team called The Swarm. And they had been doing improv for a very long time by the time I met up with them. But it was just this style of long form was new to them. So it was exciting because there were a lot of people who were just ready for something like this to happen. But it was also exciting because people were working. You know, I didn't know any working actors besides like the 6 people on main stage when I lived in
Second City.
At Second City when I lived in Chicago. And I remember there was one woman at I.O. who made a living doing voiceover. I go to New York, and I'm on a Herald team there at UCB, and half the team are people who are working writers or producers, or they're people already working in the industry. And people every day were pitching shows, and it just was like a level of I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Ambition or focus that I didn't see in Chicago. It's much easier in Chicago to kind of have your improv gigs, do your temp job, and have a fairly comfortable life, relatively so, and just have fun.
Is it fair to say that when we were around, and we were around a similar time, that it was almost kind of an artist colony mentality, that we didn't think beyond improv?
Well, I didn't. No, I mean, the pinnacle for me was doing Herald on Saturday night at I.O.
And that was it?
It wasn't until very late that I wanted to work for Second City. Like most people who do improv, I think, they're drawn to Chicago to do improv because of Second City. And I just wasn't interested. When I first moved here, I saw a couple shows there. I wasn't impressed. It was funny, but it wasn't artful in the way that I wanted theater to be good. And then a few years later, Pinata Full of Bees came along, and then those string of shows that Mick Napier directed, and I went to see those shows and went, oh my God, I'd love to do these shows. But I was already 4 or 5 years in. I was too busy to go do the conservatory. You know, I auditioned a couple times for Tourco, didn't get called back. So it wasn't. It just wasn't in the cards. I think if you want to work at Second City, you kind of have to know that. It really helps to know that when you're like 17. You know, it's kind of a hard thing to, like at 25, to go, I want to work at Second City. It can happen. People get hired at age 30 or whatever. But it's the same thing with SNL. Like if you don't know you want to work for SNL when you're 13, you're probably not going to ever work for SNL.
That's hopeful. That's a hopeful.
I'm breaking that to you, Jimmy.
Yeah,
but
thank you.